Last week on Doubling Down with Colin and Vinny.
Because when you get down to the 8 Senior Buscador, who Vinny told me before the show is his hot tip for the day. When I looked at Senior Buscador, I noticed that 0 on the Churchill Downs racetrack, right? It has a race there. The last workout, 5 furlongs and 58 seconds. That workout just jumped at me. The trainer's 33% winner on the shipping out of 85 races, Todd Fincher. Maybe I can get the big price here and bring him in. But Vinny just told me I absolutely agree, and I love this horse too before the show. So why don't you tell me why you love him, Vinny?
He ran in the Springboard Mile in 2020. And I feel like I don't need to elaborate more on that. Now, I think he could finish like 3rd or 4th and round out your try and super. But I don't think he would be a threat to win, in my opinion.
There, whereas Senior Buscador, this maybe late bloomer, baby.
He could. He
4-year-old season.
Yeah, and, he very well could be. And if he beats me, he's one of those horses. I feel like he beats me. I don't see how he wins here.
Senior Buscador picks it up on the far outside with a blitz toward the lead. And
Months about adding this horse until this like right now, and he's definitely staying on my ticket at this point.
Yeah, he's just one of those horses. I will never get over. He's coming out of the Springboard Mile. I have an issue playing Springboard Mile horses.
In front, 1 furlong to go. Injunctions trying to re-rally. 3 Technique is there. Shirley Furious fights on toward the rail. Final 16th, Senior Buscador trying to fend off an oncoming Injunction. Senior Buscador digs down to win.
Yeah, or Senior Buscador. Senior Buscador means I know I'm going to get a text from Aaron as soon as if Senior Buscador wins, just like haha. God, it would make me so mad.
There you have it.
Yep. We need to start doing like a dunce cap like Andy Serling does. I'd be wearing it this week. I didn't think that horse had a shot. He just coming around the turn. I'm like, oh well, Speaker's Corner's done. Now I'm like, well, gives Folsom a chance to close, and he was empty. And I'm just like, this is sad. Like this is sad.
I had to have some fun with that. It seems like every time the week before we talk about society and you kind of throw away comment, he comes back to win. I was on the fence with Senior Buscador, and the last comment I made, which I didn't include in the clip there, was, Senior Buscador, we've talked about him so much, we're going to be a mistake if we leave him off. And sure enough, he comes back. And then unfortunately for me, it always sucks when you hit not to mention he was 11-1 going into the gate and then 6-1 when they opened the gate, which that's a story for another day, which will drive you nuts. But you hit the first leg 11-1, 6-1, whatever. And then I texted you and also Finky, who talks to me on Twitter about horses. And I said, Hot Rod Charlie's going to screw me. I know it. We both were so big on Happy Saver. I felt confident about Happy Saver. He had a little bit of trouble in the trip, and then all of a sudden, here comes Rich Strike, and what a gallant effort by Rich Strike! I think he finally put together put to quiet those negatives of him of a fluke on Derby Day. I think he's a much better horse than people might have given him credit for at that 70-1.
Yeah, I think he definitely is. I think I said on the show, I thought he proved his worth in the Travers with that run, and that race is looking great now, coming back. Horses are just coming back, running good left and right. So very excited to see what Epicenter does. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be against Flightline. But, you give me a price, I might play it. I might play it a little bit. Because the horses, they're all running big out of it. Regardless of Sonny's ride there. He was still running a big race no matter what. So, he's a tough beat for you, though. It looked like he had Hot Rod done, and
that was one of the
Hot Rod Charlie just finds more. He's a classy individual. So
that was extremely impressive. So we will update the standings. Unfortunately, I think I lost 6 and you lost 4, I believe. So we're going the wrong way here. But
red's my color.
That's right. It matches your show logo. We want to be in the green, Vinny. We want to be in the
I
green.
know. It's not. I mean, you hit the first leg, I hit the second leg. If we just combined if somebody combined our tickets, I feel like they'd be doing good.
Yes, that is.
I feel like this is like 2 weeks in a row that 2 weeks in a row. I think now that one of us has hit one leg and the other hit the other leg.
Yep, and it's
So,
funny. If you remember back to Saratoga, why we started the show is I would pick one race and you would pick one race, and we do them back to back, and we were like 3 for 3 when I picked the first leg and you did the second leg. So maybe we need to think about changing up our strategy. But
right. It's like it's just like, yeah. But we'll see. Hopefully this weekend we got some good prices. I hope this weekend
we got some
full fields at Keeneland. So
Yep.
fingers crossed.
We were we are the voice of the people. We put a poll out there and they voted for Keeneland. So Keeneland's where we go. I mean, what an amazing weekend we have coming up with graded stakes, winning your ends. We even have our Kentucky Derby prep briefing show that 2 of those races, one of which we'll touch upon here in a minute, is a part of as well. Don't forget to subscribe here on Trust the Profits so you don't miss all of the content. Matt DeSantis ran through 11 races in the 30-minute show today, and he did 20 races in 50 minutes the other day. So I said, Matt, you're making us look bad. You got to slow down over here. We're just taking 2 at a time. So first race we'll go to on Saturday, October 8th. As Vinny said, we're going to Keeneland for the Breeders' Futurity Grade 1 mile and a 16th. Look at that full field. You got 16 with 2 of them also eligibles. Forte, number 7, returning from the win at Saratoga. Honed is a horse that's coming out of that race as well. That was the Iroquois. I'm sorry, Honed is coming out of the Iroquois where Curly Jack won. I'm getting my shows mixed up here. Forte ran in the Hopeful at Saratoga and took that race down in the slop. Vinny, who do you like?
Well, I'm gonna go against Forte here, and it probably is gonna bite me.
Well, don't say that because I'm going against Forte because you're going
against
Forte. You've been talking bad about him to me.
He looks good, and Blazing Sevens just won in the slop last weekend, but I think the sloppy track I really think helped this one. He's sired by violence. He's blame on the bottom. This horse really should have thrived in the slop, and he did. I'm not expecting to see that effort. For that reason, I actually really like the other Todd Pletcher trainee here as my top pick, which I can't believe I like. Lost Ark for Todd Pletcher. Horse is 2 for 2. He's coming out of a mile race at Monmouth where he kind of sat behind the pace and just made a huge move to win. He's kind of done that in both of his races so far. They paid a lot for him, $275,000 on a $25,000 stud fee. He just seems to be getting better with each start, and if he keeps getting better, I think he's gonna be a problem. He's also the half to Nest, who, I mean, she's probably still the favorite to win the Breeders' Cup Distaff, and also a half to Idol, who was a grade 1 winner last year in the Santa Anita handicap. So really good pedigree here, and gets Pratt. So that's where I'm at. Is I really like Lost Ark.
I have the Lost Ark on my ticket as well. Damson Stakes winner, 6 starters, 5 winners. The sire's violence, so you contradict yourself there. And I highlighted the sire in red, but on the dam side, you kind of make up for that, especially with the distance.
Right, but my one thing with Lost Ark over Forte is that he's got 2 races not in the slop that he's improved on.
Mm-hmm.
Forte, his debut wasn't on the slop. It was, debut was on a fast track, but that second race in the Stanford was on a fast track as well, and he just didn't show much. So that's kind of where I think maybe, he did run a 92 buyer in the Hopeful, but he probably, the wet track, I feel like may have helped him that day over a couple of the others there. I mean, Gulfport at this point seems like he's a hanger, and doesn't want the distance. So I'm not really sure what he beat by beating Gulfport for second. Blazing Sevens did come back to run well, but out of that race, he seemed like the horse that would thrive in the slop the most. So I think it goes back to making an equal playing field, and I don't think he's a 92 buyer runner against this field today. So, which is why I'm taking a stand against him.
Yeah, and the big reason I'm taking a stand between the two is look at that far right column. You're getting 6-1 on Lost Ark or 3-1 on Forte. I'll take my shot on the 6-1 over the 3-1 from a value perspective here in the double. The horse that I love, and I actually considered it's such a big field. They're 2-year-olds, so it's a little scary to single horse, but I just absolutely love this 2 Loggins. Brad Cox, under by Ghost Zapper, Beyond Blame, who's a grade 3 winner. This is actually the first horse out of Beyond Blame. This horse was heavily bet in his debut at Churchill Downs. And thing that I love that is just jumping off the page at me is look at these workouts at Churchill Downs. And I said this in that Senior Buscador clip, right? He ran a 5 furlongs in 58 seconds. And that's what really jumped out at me on that Senior Buscador. I know we're not at Churchill, and that was a little bit of a more reason that I like Senior Buscador because of the workout over the same track. But I went back and watched this debut of Loggins, and I'll tell you, I mean, I've been watching horse racing a long time. That doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination that I can look at a horse and be like, oh, that one's definitely a winner, or even watch a race, and sometimes you get tricked when they're blowing away other horses that maybe aren't as good. But this one looked the real deal. And I just really love this 2 Loggins. Florence Rue's back aboard, and you can't really go wrong with a Brad Cox horse in this type of race. So to me, I am taking Loggins. Is Loggins on your ticket as well?
Yeah, Loggins is on my ticket as well. He just that debut race I thought was just too good to ignore. It was at 6.5. He's stretching out, but it's bred to stretch out. And like the workouts are great. I would be surprised if we saw this one rating. I have a feeling that Flo is going to put this horse right on the lead, especially from the 2 hole. The 1 horse might be a little outclassed here, probably also wants to go, but I think this horse is either right on the lead or a half a length off the lead headed into that first turn. And I think that sets up good, especially in a big field. I know we both said we like Lost Ark. That 10 post isn't gonna be the most kind unless he either drops back early to save ground or gets good breaking and Pratt can move him in. So I'm with you on Loggins. I think he looks really good too.
Yeah, has the opportunity to save ground too in that inside post, and also, yeah, he's the favorite, but he's 4-1. That's I'll take that price every day on a horse that I love this much. So there's absolutely no way I can argue leaving Loggins off of your ticket. I think he's a must use in this race here. The 3-horse Honed, I had mentioned this on our prep briefing show, is the horse that finished second to Curly Jack. Curly Jack won that Iroquois, which is the first race in the Kentucky Derby for points system. Honed was very keen and green in the stretch, showed some run, jerked a little bit. I'll be excited to watch Honed, but I didn't put him on my ticket. Partly when it came down to it, so I said I wanted to single Loggins. I ended up going 4 deep here. Honed I didn't keep on. McPeak and Le Peru will probably screw me again, as I always say in this show. Honed for you or no?
No, Hone's a no for me, even though I think he'll get the pace set up like he did in the Iroquois. I just don't. I'm still not 100% on these Sharp Azteca horses going this far. He's been a very good sire so far. He's definitely already exceeded expectations. But Sharp Azteca out of a City Zip Dam, I have a feeling this horse really just wants to stay around 1 turn, and this to me seems like a classic case of McPeak and his ownership group. This time it's 3 Chimneys trying to get a Derby starter. I feel like we see this every year at McPeak, where he has these horses that they seem talented and he oversteps them, and then eventually they're, once they, either you get 2 sides of the coin. You get like the rattle and rolls this year where they finally dropped him down in class and now he looks really good. Or who was his other horse that everybody loved? Creative Minister, right? Is a McPeak horse? you get Creative Minister where he runs one big race and then you just throw him in grade 1 after grade 1 after grade 1, and now the horse he can't win at small tracks. So I feel like this happens with McPeak every year. You let him at this point. I think you let him beat you, even though 12-1's a very good price if you like him.
It is, and I think I actually screwed up here because I had the number, the 3. I was looking at the number. I was looking at the odds on my thing. I did keep honed on my ticket for that exact reason of what I saw in that. Well, the 12-1 in that stretch run against Curly Jack. You know, if he could figure it out and takes another big step forward, it's one of those situations I just don't want to get beat by him. So I've left him on my ticket. So I had the 2 and the 3 Loggins and honed. Who was another horse you had in your ticket?
Another horse I had on my ticket is the other Brad Cox horse, actually. Instant Coffee. Brad Cox, yeah, the 5. Bolt Oro. This horse had Dylan Davis on in debut and honestly rolled at Saratoga in that debut. Broke from the rail, which is always impressive to see first-time starters break from the rail. He won easily. He only won by 3/4 of a length, but if you watch, like, as soon as they start making that turn for home, you could tell this was the horse with all the momentum, and he was going to roll right on by. He gets a jockey upgrade today to Saez, second time out, and gets a better post. It's one thing I always look for is these first-time starters that break from the rail first time out, and they win. And now we're getting a jockey upgrade. And Bolt de Oro is still, again, one of the top freshman sires so far. I think he's going to have a very good stallion career. Brad Cox again. I've kind of for the same reason I really like Loggins too, like you do. I like that this horse was able to rate. I think he's going to get a pace. And with the jockey upgrade, I think it shows that this horse this horse probably does have some talent there. I don't think Saez is jumping aboard if this horse didn't have talent. The workouts since that race have been decent at Churchill. 47 for 4 furlongs. He was 4th out of 111 on October 1st in his last work. That's pretty good for a 2-year-old working against 111 other horses, and he was the 4th fastest. So Instant Coffee is definitely on my ticket. What about you?
The reason I didn't put Instant Coffee on my ticket is because I highlighted Bolt de Oro in red, right? And the reason I put him in red is because when he started winning, right? I mean, his offspring was winning crazy to start. He was at like 30-40% you'd see in the past performances. All of those wins were coming at 4.5, 5, and 5.5 furlongs. And he's had some winners recently at a mile and the 16th. But it's something that maybe it's just in my head, but it's something that I'm not going to pass on or I'm going to stick to for this race because I had some other long shots and some other angles that I would prefer over Bolt de Oro on top with a horse going over a mile. And that's just something maybe it'll prove me wrong and I probably just put him in the winner's circle. But for me, it's an angle I've been kind of sticking to is Bolt de Oro running longer. It's just not something that I am attracted to. However, we are going to give you a 20-1 shot that we both have on our ticket. Number 14, Powerful, Steve Asmussen with Jose Ortiz aboard. The reason that I liked this horse, and this isn't a reason to like the horse, but it jumped at me that they paid $525,000 for this horse. In his last race at Saratoga, 7 furlongs, the second place horse there, Tappett's Conquest, who is a horse that we just talked about Sunday night on the Kentucky Derby prep briefing show about, I thought over the weekend, there was 2 horses that were really impressive out of the 2-year-olds that won. It was Tappett's Conquest and it was Frank's Honor at Churchill Downs. Frank's Honor to me was more impressive, but Tappett's Conquest won by 4 or 5 lengths, I believe. And this horse beat that horse. So for that one reason, I'm like, I don't want to pay attention to that happen on Sunday, us talk about it, see a horse who beat him, and then not have him on my ticket. So Powerful was a horse that I wanted to certainly include, shown some early speed, breaking from the far outside, by Nyquist, out of Antiquity, average winning distance over 7 on both the sire and dam side. So that was attractive to me for the mile and the 16th, because remember, these are 2-year-olds, so the longer the distance, you're starting to learn, and you do have to rely on that breeding a little bit. You had Powerful on your ticket as well, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I had powerful. Ran 75 buyers in both starts so far this year. Horse seems like he bred for 2 turns with Nyquist on top, out of a pulpit dam. It just seems like should improve with 2 turns, and I don't think there's like a monster in this field necessarily. Um,
Logins.
I don't think there's a monster in here. So I think a step up. I like a mid 80s buyer probably could win this race. I don't know what the buyer par. I didn't see what the buyer par was for this race, but I honestly I wouldn't be surprised if the winner of this race runs like an 86, and he's not far off with an improvement going around 2 turns for the first time, second time with Jose riding. The outside post sucks, but at 20 to 1, he was a horse that I'm not going to leave off because his chance of improving, I feel like, is very good. I'd rather like he's the same. You're getting the same price on this horse who he's when he stretched out from 6 to 7, he got the job done. So he's got a win at 7 on the dirt, but you're getting the same morning line value as you're getting on Good Heart for Brandon Walsh, who won his debut on the turf. Okay. Uh, Same value as Red Route 1, who is a wind chill homebred, who the gun runner horse as well. So that's another horse that probably is going to improve going from turf to dirt, but still is only run on turf. I feel like you're getting value here at 20 to 1 on powerful. We'll see though. I'm not he's kind of my last horse in, and it was really because of the price. If
Yeah.
he gets bet down, it's kind of going to be like, all right, well maybe he's live, but at 20 to 1, I feel like he looked too good. I thought last time out to leave out.
So there you go for race 9 on Saturday. Vinny and I agree on 2 logins, 10 lost to Arc, 14 powerful. I like the 3 honed. He likes the 5 instant coffee. That's where we go separate. Hopefully the 2, 10, or 14 can get us both through this first ticket. I'm going to do something here that has cost us this daily double in the last 3 weeks when we have a little throwaway comment at the end, and then this horse comes to beat us. Are we making a mistake by leaving Bob Baffert off with a 20 to 1 horse with John Velasquez up in the 8 Newgate?
I don't know. We might be. We might be we might be making a mistake.
Call the presses. Call the presses.
We might be making a mistake here by leaving Newgate off. He just looked awful last time. Even if he had run second last time, I think I would be more inclined to use him here. The 20 to 1 is a great price. But boy, he looked so bad last time. And I get that Cave Rock is the horse to beat.
Mhm.
But boy, he looked awful. It wasn't even like he broke out of the gate, and you could see Johnny wanted that horse on the lead. And he just wasn't good. He just flat out wasn't good enough to be on the lead. And granted, the Cave Rock and I forget the name, Havana Meltdown or whatever, however you say it, was they basically went 1-2 all the way around. But boy, he just couldn't keep up, and that is worrisome when there is other speed in here. Because there is a lot of other speed in here, and I get they went 21-44, and they probably won't go that quick here. But he's going to have to run a sub 23 if he wants to lead against this field. And if he goes sub 23, if he goes 22 here, if he goes 22-45 here, he's really got to be a special horse to beat this field. And I don't, after that last race, I don't think he's a special horse. So I'm okay leaving Baffert off at 20 to 1.
All right. I talked to Vinny today. I said, hey, we should keep track of things that we say that are stupid comments that come true, or we should also clip off our best comments when it comes true. And we'll do a little best of in a couple of weeks, but I'm really scared that might be the comment right there that burns us, but we'll move on. So we move to race 10 on Saturday, October 8th at Keeneland, the Turf Mile. You got a couple 3-year-olds here trying some olders for the win in your in, correct? This is a win in your ring.
Yep, this is, I believe, yeah, this should be a win. Yep, the Coolmore Turf Mile. Yep, this is, I don't think this was always the Coolmore Turf Mile. I want to say this used to be a different, I forget what they used to, it was definitely the Turf Mile, but I forget what, I don't think it's always been the Coolmore Turf Mile. I could be mistaken here, but
You'll notice.
No, this is the Shad. This was what used to be the Shadwell, and now it's Coolmore. That's why I was confused. Yeah, this is what used to be the Shadwell Turf Mile.
You'll
So.
notice, those of you that followed the Kentucky Derby this year, the one is Classic Causeway, who's had some success on the turf his last 3 races. So in this race here, in their previous race, you got 2-year-olds. I relied on breeding and a little bit of what my eye has seen. In this race here, and I'll go on the record and say, on these days with all these graded stakes, I'm not as strong as other players. This is where I struggle, and that's where I like to take a shot with with horses like Senior Buscador. I'm just going to keep rubbing you with that. So in this race here, I decided that with these older horses, I really need to pay attention to pace more, because that's usually what burns me, is I don't put enough emphasis on the pace of the race. And I try to rely on some of my other handicapping angles, which clearly hasn't worked out in the past. So here we go, trying something new. And I'm going to ask you here, I tended to see a lot of early speed in this race. Did you?
Yeah, there's definitely more early speed here, especially with Classic Causeway and Aidan O'Brien shipping Order of Australia. I know his early pace numbers aren't as high as some of the others, but Order of Australia wants to be right near that lead.
Smooth Like Straight does, some like it Hot Brown does.
Yeah,
Mason
even Satin there, he likes to be close up. He doesn't like to be too far back. I think we're gonna get a decent. I think we're gonna get a decent pace here. I don't think it's going to be super quick. I feel like these turf miles never have a super quick pace. But I bet we probably, between 40, around a 47.5, and I think that will be honest.
To me, I saw a lot, and so my handicapping immediately turned towards leaning towards the closers, and that's kind of where my ticket structure has balanced out. Although the horse that I really, obviously Ivar, pretty good closer. The thing about Ivar that I saw, and Ivar is on my ticket, Blinkers Off was peculiar to me, because if you look at this horse's performances with blinkers off, you get a 6th place, 4th place, and a 5th place finish. He does have 1 win out of those, but those 3, I was like, oh my God, why are they taking the blinkers off here? Then I looked at the races over the Keeneland surface. That's also a 2 4th place finishes. It worried me, but he's a closer, and I'm just worried about leaving the closing speed off when I like closers on the turf anyways, and then I saw a lot of early speed to even begin with. I wish the race was a little bit longer for my closers, but we'll take it for what it is. Ivar is at 6-1. I also like the price. Did you have Ivar on your ticket?
I don't, but I like Ivar. He's one of those horses. If I play like a deep pick 5 or something, he's definitely one of those horses on it, because I'd hate to get beat by him on a pick 5. He just hasn't won against graded stakes company since 2020, and that's kind of where I'm going. He won this race in 2020, and he was a very good price that day, and he beat a solid field. He beat Raging Bull that day. But since then, 4 graded stakes wise, 4th, 6th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. I need him to beat some classy horses here, and like the only horse he's beaten since that race is some like at Hot Brown, who is another one who he's one of those horses. If he gets loose and alone on the lead, he wins. When he doesn't win. So I can't use Ivar in this instance. I think there's too many others here that have another chance of winning, but he would be one of those pick 5 horses for me.
Yeah, he's strong second off the layoff. His last race was to Modern Games, so I also enjoy those angles. And his last 2 races using Brisnet speed figure were his highest speed figures that he's put up. So I don't know that there's necessarily a drop off there. Who do you have on?
He's run. Yeah, he always runs honest, and he runs against good horses. He just doesn't win.
Don't use that comment on this show.
Doesn't anymore. I know, but like he's 2 for 8 at the distance. He is 6 for 13 lifetime. I don't know if he beats me in the double here, he beats me, but he will be on my pick 5 ticket, so I won't be that upset. Okay. My top pick is actually Annapolis for Todd Pletcher.
Love him.
Yeah, he is He's going back to a mile. He's got one win at the mile. He lost a Penn mile earlier this year in his first race off a very long layoff. His last 2 races, though, he was second to Nation's Pride, who, if Nation's Pride was in here, would probably be the favorite, if we're being honest. And then he came back and there wasn't much in there, but he dominated that Saranac. It was a grade 3 at Saratoga, a mile and a 16th. He dominated it. But what I like about him is that he seems versatile. He won that race on the lead. His other races, he likes to come from a little bit off the pace. Like you said, there is pace here. He might just trip out. He's going to be, he's breaking from the 8. So he's probably, a couple lengths back early, probably 2 or 3 wide in that first turn. If he's got a kick left, I think he's going to be very tough to beat. He's shown that he's classy by running that well against Nation's Pride. This horse has never been over. He was almost 3-1 against Nation's Pride, and that's the highest odds we had on him in his career. And now you're giving me 10-1 on him going a mile at a distance he's won at. Like, yeah, I'll take it. If this was a mile and a half, maybe I'd be a little hesitant, but cutting back to a mile with a horse like this, I'll take 10-1 all day.
That's an angle I love, cutting back on distance when he's shown in the striking distance in the stretch and those previous long distances. I love Annapolis too. A horse that I will certainly have on my ticket. And you also got Pletcher with Irad up. Can't go wrong with those 2 connections. And as you said, the 10-1 price. He's also the second Brisnet Prime Power horse in this race, which is interesting that he's 10-1 because their lines usually line up pretty well with the morning line. But in this case, you do not have that. You actually have Smooth Like Straight 9-2, who I wasn't a big fan of Smooth Like Straight. I left him off my ticket. Only 1 win in the last 2 years, 9-2. I'll pass. I was waiting for you to say Smooth Like Straight so I could say this horse doesn't win, because that's a little inside
No,
joke.
I'm with you. I have never really liked Smooth Like Straight.
Just love
He's
second.
one of those horses. He's one of those horses. I feel like he's never in a position where he's lone speed. When he looks like he's lone speed, he never really is. I'm sure this is going to put him in the winner's circle. In other words, he just doesn't like to win again, really outside of California. But yeah, he's always right there though. Like if you're playing exactas and tries, like I feel like he's a key horse. He's one of those horses, you play, if you have a bankroll, you go all Smooth Like Straight all on a try, and it probably hits because he's always right there. He just never is on the right side of that photo.
Another price I like is the 12 at 15-1 Set Piece. It starts off with Joel Rosario not letting him beat me in another graded stakes race. Brad Cox, can't argue with those connections. And as I said, I'm going back to that angle of I want the closers in this race, and this is a horse that does his best running late. Now, lost to Santine, Smooth Like Straight. If you look through his past performances, you kind of continually seeing him behind some of the other horses that are in this race, and it makes you wonder a little bit about who he's faced. You like Set Piece, right?
Yeah, I like Set Piece a lot, and I doubt we get anywhere near this 15-1 morning line. I'm expecting him to be. I'm honestly expecting Set Piece to probably be around 9-2, 5-1 by post time.
Wow.
I think his last. His last 3 races, he won easily last time out at Pimlico. He was the best there. He went off the favorite. He was the class of that field. The Arlington Million, he broke from the rail, and he had about his worst trip as you could get. And I would say that's probably the worst trip I've seen on Set Piece, except I watched him in the Forbidden Apple. If you watch back both of those races, this horse was given 0 chance in both of those races. And he went off the favorite in both of those races. And he went off the favorite in the Arlington Million because of how bad his trip was in the Forbidden Apple. And then he still came coming late, and he just ran out of ground because by the time he got cleared, the race was over. He's breaking from the outside today. Rosario can keep him on the outside. there's no way this horse is 15 to 1. I would be shocked if if we get double digits on him. He always, when he's not in trouble, he always shows up. He might not win. He does have a couple, seconds, thirds, and everything, but he's run very good this year against good horses, and you're getting a price on him because 2 of his last 3 starts have been absolutely horrific trips. So with the outside post today, I really like Set Piece. I think he's going to run a big race.
I don't think we've agreed this much on our show. So we both like Annapolis. We both like Set Piece. And as our ticket goes across the bottom there, we also both like Casa Creed. Casa Creed's a horse that I feel like is always overlooked at the windows. Going back to who he's been beat by, I always toss those Dubai races unless they do superb. He has a second place there, but I don't know. To me, it's a lot to ask of a horse. And some of the best horses that go over there don't always perform as well as you think they would. And then they come back and do just as well. And Casa Creed's one of those who's coming off of 2 Grade 1 wins. One at Belmont, one at Saratoga, both at 4 to 1. Then you put in the Dubai races, a 5th and a 2nd. Then you can't blame him for the Breeders' Cup Mile. Prior to that, lost to Gear Jockey and Get Stormy. And all these are good prices, and he's actually 5 to 1. So if you think Set Piece is going to be dropping as much as you say he is, I would think Casa Creed might creep up from the 5 to 1 morning line, considering how much he's overlooked in the past. It's also a horse that I'll really be pissed if he beats me. So Bill Mott, Luis Saez, a really good Brisnet speed figure that has continued to improve at 6. I'd love to see the continual progression, not only 3 to 4, 4 to 5, but 5 to 6, his numbers are still getting better. So this is a horse that I absolutely want on my ticket. What were the reasons you had him?
I just don't want him to beat me again. I had him at Belmont in the Jaipur. I did not have him in the 4-star Dave though. I did not think he stacked up against that 4-star Dave field. I didn't think he was going to get the pace, and he did. And he beat me. And there is some, there's a possibility that some like at Hot Brown and Classic Causeway hook up early, and he gets a nice pace. And that was the reason I put him on my ticket. I don't want this horse to beat me. He seems to show up nearly every time. He likes this distance. He's 9 for 14 in the money at this distance. And Saez in the US on him is 2 for 2.
Yep.
So he was just he was kind of a defensive use for me. And at the 5 to 1 price, I didn't feel like I was going to get shorted on that using a horse defensively here. I really don't love him, but at 5 to 1, I'll use him defensively because I think he does have a good shot to win.
Such a great double we've picked out here, right? I mean, we've gone 39 minutes. We've only touched upon a few horses, and
yeah, right.
You've really got some competition. So those are the ones we agree on. I had Ivor on my ticket. You did not, but you had another interesting horse who's a very nice price. And I watched Matt DeSantis's show earlier, where he broke down the entire Keeneland card in less time than it's taken us to break down 2. However, the horse that he had for the best value in this race was the same horse that you had on your ticket. And who was that, Vinny?
The number 5, Mason, for Chad Brown, Pratt. I really don't know what happened in that 4-star Dave. He just didn't fire. That's really all that I can say. He didn't fire. He got the trip he needed. He got beat. He got passed easily by Regal Glory, who Regal Glory looked like she was home free before Casa Creed came storming home. I just don't want to he's another one. I really don't want to get beat by this horse. And if you take out that 4-star Dave, he looks really good. He likes this 1 mile distance. It's not like he's cutting back or stretching out. He's been running well at this 1 mile distance. Chad puts him in here. Chad only has 2 in here. And Emirati, I think, is a closer. I know she won gate to wire last time, but that was a very weird circumstance that she went gate to wire in that race. That race had 0 pace in it. So Mason is one of those kind of like, who are we talking about before? That probably is just going to sit right off the pace. It might, Annapolis. It might just trip out. That's kind of where I was at with Mason, was that He's got Classic Causeway on his inside and Order of Australia on his inside. He's probably right in that second flight, maybe 2.5 lengths behind the leaders. And if the leaders start coming back, he's going to be one of those first horses to get a jump on him. And he shouldn't have any traffic trouble breaking from the 5 post. So at 12-1, I couldn't pass him up, even though the 4-star Dave effort, I know he got a 101 buyer. It's a very discouraging effort, though, because he had no excuse there not to win.
The pace was hot in that race, and the reason I left them off my ticket is what I've been talking about, is I kind of just tossed the speed that I see in here. Classic Causeway and Smooth Like Straight are going to push this pretty fast, I think. And I believe that is going to be detrimental to Mason. And that's why the only horse that I think can be, like we said, close to the front and hang on is this Annapolis at a nice 10-1 price. So that was where my decision-making came in. It was just, I really was like, look at all this early speed. I'm going to go immediately to the closers and start my handicapping there. And that was my reasoning for not leaving Mason on. But Matt and Vinny are much better at this game than I am, so they'll probably be right. So we've pretty much decided it's going to be Newgate and then Mason as the double. So
right.
if you're playing
Newgate
against
Order of Australia, who I can't eat the 8-1 price. I can't eat it. So I had Order of Australia 2 years ago in the Breeders' Cup, where he won at 70-something to 1. So I can't. I've had a very big problem playing this horse since, because I caught him at a price that day, and since he's been nowhere near that price. So I think that I was kind of one and done with Order of Australia, but wouldn't be shocking if he beats me, even though I don't think Aiden O'Brien's won over here in a few years now. Yeah, it's been quite some time. He's not like Charlie Appleby, who just sends over winner after winner after winner.
Yeah, and the one thing I looked at was the last race at Keeneland, where he lost to some like at Hut Brown. He actually finished 12th weekend in that race. So I'm not good with these horses coming from overseas based on what I see in the past performances. So I usually tend to pass unless we get to Breeders' Cup Day and I watch Matt's wonderful coverage to get a better understanding of what I'm going to be seeing.
Yeah, in these Euros, like Aiden chipped him here. This horse is running in the Breeders' Cup. Like, this horse isn't, unless he gets hurt, this horse isn't here for a one and done trip this year. Especially, I believe the Breeders' Cup's in Keeneland this year, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Or am I making that up?
Yeah, it is, which makes you think that this is just a prep, and maybe it's not
right. And these Euros, this is why a lot of people in the U.S. really struggle handicapping Euros, and it makes it tough for handicapping Euros. These horses get raced in the shape. I mean, you look at it, he's a 5-year-old with 20 lifetime starts, and like you have some of these other horses in here who have half of that in there. You know, Ivar's got 13 starts and he's 6. Like they just don't run they train differently, and they train up in races. So I doubt that this is the race that Aiden is hoping this horse runs his best race of the year in. It might be, but I'd rather take this horse, I'd rather throw this horse on my ticket next time out in the Breeders' Cup where he's 25 to 1 rather than use him here at sub 10 to 1. Where he's coming off of a subpar effort. So that's where I'm at with Order of Australia, but I'm sure he'll win now.
Order of Australia and Newgate. We just called it. So these are our most expensive tickets that you'll get on this show. We both went 4x4. We have a lot of commonality, which hopefully means that we are seeing these races correctly. And hopefully we can get Vinny out of the red and me a little bit further up in the green, and all of you green as well. Vinny, another great job.
Thanks, man. Yeah, good luck this weekend, everybody. Keeneland's got a good card. Santa Anita's got a good card. Should be a fun little weekend of racing before the kind of the last big one before the Breeders' Cup.
These days are tough to keep up with. You're like watching one track, and 2 minutes later you got another stakes going off somewhere else. We didn't even talk about the races out at Santa Anita. There's some good stakes at Aqueduct. So all good stuff. Stay tuned for some more videos and content from us. I'm Colin Shee, and he's Vinny Blonde. Have a good weekend.